Okay, so I did a learning experience activity for 7th grade science, and it is a student-centered learning activity that is structured around a flipped classroom style. And so the activity is to lie in the middle of a history of science unit, and the standard that I chose for this activity was identify how diverse people and our cultures, past and present, have made important contributions to scientific innovations. So this was just a standard that I pulled off of the Arizona Department of Education website, specifically for 7th grade and specifically for the content area of science. So the objective that I then created from basing it off the standard was students will be able to recognize and accurately explain the impacts of scientists and how their contributions have resulted in advances in the field of science. So I tried to make the objective align with the standard, and it's clear as to what the students are to be able to accomplish at the end of the activity. The partner structure, group structure that the students will be working in is they are going to be placed in a lab group at the beginning of the activity, and they are to use this lab group to complete the assignment. The materials that are going to be used are notes, computers, textbooks, poster board or butcher paper, markers, crayons, and lined paper. So those are just the materials that are going to be needed, and then you can come back to that questions part. The whole point of the activity is for students to be assigned one of the following scientists. There will be 6 lab groups, and each lab group will be assigned one of the 6 scientists to research and gather how their findings, research, or experiment had an impact on the field of science. And so they are to then display this information on a poster board, and then they'll present their research to the rest of the class. The poster should contain the scientist's name, a detailed explanation of their contribution to science, and the impact that it had. During the presentations, the students should be writing down 3 things that they found interesting, 2 impacts that the scientist had on the field of science, and 1 question that they still may have. And that can just be done on a blank sheet of paper, and that will be collected at the end of the day. So some questions, going back to the questions part, that some students may have may be, how are scientists that lived so long ago relevant to today's modern science? So this kind of correlates with the objective, and that the point of the whole activity is for students to understand how the contributions that these scientists had and how those contributions impacted the field of science. So these scientists lived a long time ago, and even though their contributions and experiments may have been done many, many years ago, it's still relevant to today. And so that is a question that may or may not be asked, but it's important that we go back to the fact that we're trying to find out why and how their contribution was important. That's another question, is why is this important and where will we see these advances in real life? So students want to understand why it's relevant to them and why it's important, and I think those are good questions that they should be asking and can then be turned into like discussion questions or whatever. The students, they can talk about it in their lab groups. So overall, it's a very student-centered learning activity, and at the end of it, the students should be able to achieve this objective easily, which aligns with the standard at the end.